In the sprawling shipyards of Earth's orbital complex, a peculiar vessel took shape. Metal plates welded at odd angles, sensors protruding like strange mechanical tentacles, and a design that seemed to defy every known principle of spacecraft engineering. The RSS Maverick looked less like a warship and more like a child's chaotic building block creation. June Park stood watching the construction, his calloused hands clasped behind his back. He was a veteran engineer with 30 years of spacecraft design experience, and this ship was his most controversial project. Surrounding engineers whispered and argued, their debates echoing through the massive construction bay. "This will never work," muttered Lee, a senior design engineer, shaking his head. "The energy distribution alone makes no sense." But June knew something they didn't. Every seemingly random configuration had a purpose. The misaligned panels could redirect energy pulses. The awkward sensor arrays could detect quantum-level disturbances that traditional designs would miss entirely. Across the galaxy, alien intelligence networks were already collecting data on this strange human construct. The Vortex Coalition, a powerful multi-species military alliance, intercepted early schematics. Their top strategists gathered in a massive holographic war room, surrounded by sleek, symmetrical holographic representations of known spacecraft. "Humans are becoming increasingly unpredictable," announced Admiral Kira, a veteran strategist from the Emerald Sector. Her scaled fingers traced the Maverick's bizarre outline. "This design breaks every known rule of spacecraft engineering." Her colleagues laughed. Some found the human attempt amusing, others considered it a potential threat. But most saw it as another example of human technological naivety. Deep within the ship's engineering sections, teams worked tirelessly. Young engineers like Sarah Kim tested unconventional systems. Quantum processors were integrated into what looked like random mechanical appendages. Energy conduits twisted in patterns that would make traditional engineers cringe. The ship's computer system was equally unique. Instead of a centralized AI, it used a distributed network that could rapidly adapt and redistribute computational resources. If one section was damaged, the entire system would reconfigure instantaneously. "We're not building a warship," June would tell his team. "We're building a living system that can think, adapt, and survive." Funding for the project came from a special research division. They believed in radical innovation, in pushing technological boundaries. Traditional military contractors had rejected the design multiple times, calling it fundamentally flawed and mathematically impossible. But the team persisted. Each weld, each sensor placement, each energy conduit was a carefully calculated decision. What looked like chaos was actually a highly sophisticated system of interconnected technologies. As final construction neared completion, the ship began to take on a life of its own. During initial tests, it performed in ways that defied conventional understanding. Sensor arrays could predict potential attack vectors before they even materialized. Energy systems could redistribute power faster than any known spacecraft in existence. The Vortex Coalition continued to monitor the project, their initial amusement slowly transforming into a subtle sense of concern. Human technology had surprised them before, and this vessel seemed to promise something entirely different. June Park watched the final sections being assembled, a quiet smile playing on his weathered face. He knew that true innovation always looks strange at first. History was filled with inventions that seemed impossible until they changed everything. The RSS Maverick wasn't just a ship. It was a statement, a declaration that human creativity could transform the impossible into reality. As the last panel was welded into place, something in the universe shifted. A new era of technological possibility had just begun, and no one, not humans, not the Vortex, not any civilization in the galaxy, fully understood what was about to unfold. The ship sat silently in the construction bay, its strange angles and bizarre configuration holding secrets that would soon shake the foundations of galactic warfare. The RSS Maverick slipped silently through the dark expanse of space, its unusual shape barely visible against the starry backdrop. June Park sat in the command chair, his fingers lightly touching the adaptive control interfaces that seemed to breathe and pulse with potential energy. Sensors flickered first. A distant signal. Then another. The Vortex battle group was approaching, their massive warships moving in perfect geometric formation. Each vessel was a marvel of traditional engineering, smooth, symmetrical, and designed with mathematical precision. "Incoming transmission," announced Sarah Kim, her voice steady. The holographic display lit up with the image of Admiral Wren, his reptilian features twisted in a mixture of amusement and contempt. "Unidentified human vessel," the transmission crackled. "You are entering restricted space. Prepare for immediate neutralization." June said nothing. He watched. The Mavericks' systems were already analyzing, calculating, preparing. The first weapon strike came quickly, a precise energy pulse that would have obliterated any standard spacecraft. But the Maverick wasn't standard. The energy pulse seemed to flow around the ship, its strange configuration redirecting destructive potential. "Impossible," muttered the alien tactical officers watching from their command ships. The Maverick moved differently. Where traditional ships would turn in smooth arcs, this vessel seemed to jump and twist. Its sensors predicted attack vectors before the Vortex ships could even initialize their targeting systems. Weapon systems that looked randomly placed began to fire. But these weren't random shots. Each blast was a calculated response, targeting specific quantum weak points in the alien ship's energy shields. One Vortex destroyer suddenly lost power, then another. The perfectly organized battle formation began to crumble. How? Admiral Wren's voice carried pure disbelief. His flagships, advanced tracking systems, couldn't lock onto the human vessel. It was as if the ship existed in multiple potential locations simultaneously. The ship's computer wasn't just processing. It was predicting, learning, adapting with each millisecond of combat. What looked like chaotic movement was actually a complex dance of strategic positioning. Energy conduits that seemed misaligned redirected weapon systems instantaneously. Sensor arrays that appeared randomly placed could detect quantum-level disturbances before they manifested as actual threats. June watched calmly. His team worked with a synchronicity that seemed almost telepathic. They weren't just operating a ship. They were becoming part of its living system. Another Vortex ship exploded. Then another. The remaining vessels began to retreat, their perfect formation dissolving into panic. "This is impossible," repeated Admiral Wren, his scaled hands trembling on the command console. But it was happening. A ship that looked like a technological joke was systematically destroying one of the most advanced battle groups in the known galaxy. The Maverick wasn't just fighting. It was demonstrating a fundamental truth about human innovation. That true creativity often looks like madness before it becomes genius. As the last Vortex ship retreated, silence fell. Space seemed to hold its breath, witnessing something unprecedented. June Park allowed himself a small smile. The first test was complete, and the galaxy would never be the same. Across communication, networks, news spread. A human ship had done the impossible. The Vortex, considered unbeatable, had been defeated by a vessel that looked like it was built from spare parts and wild imagination. The RSS Maverick continued its trajectory, ready for whatever challenge might come next. Its strange configuration now carried a legend, a promise of what human innovation could achieve when conventional thinking was abandoned. In the vast darkness of space, a new era had begun, and it started with a ship that nobody believed could fly. The research facility buzzed with intense activity. Engineers and scientists gathered around holographic displays, analyzing every detail of the RSS Maverick's incredible performance. Chief Engineer C.O. Park stood at the center, her hands moving rapidly across interactive screens. "It's not magic," she explained to a group of skeptical military analysts. "It's pure mathematics and adaptive design." The ship's exterior looked like a nightmare of engineering. Panels seemed to be attached at random, sensor arrays twisted in impossible angles. But each seemingly chaotic element had a precise purpose. Quantum processors were integrated into what looked like random mechanical appendages. energy conduits twisted in patterns that would make traditional engineers cringe. The ship's computer system wasn't a single brain, but a distributed network that could rapidly adapt and redistribute computational resources. Detailed analysis revealed something extraordinary. When one section of the ship sustained damage, the entire system would instantaneously reconfigure. Traditional spacecraft would lose functionality. The Maverick would simply reorganize, redirecting energy and computational power in milliseconds. Look, here. CO pointed to a complex diagram. What appears to be a design flaw is actually a survival mechanism. The strange sensor arrays could detect quantum-level disturbances before they became actual threats. Energy systems could redistribute power faster than any known spacecraft in existence. What looked like a random configuration was actually a highly sophisticated adaptive system. Alien scientists who obtained the initial data were confused. Their most advanced computer models couldn't explain the ship's performance. It broke every known rule of spacecraft engineering. June Park reviewed the initial reports. Each analysis confirmed what he had believed from the beginning. Innovation wasn't about following rules. It was about understanding how to break them intelligently. The ship's energy distribution system was revolutionary. Traditional spacecraft had fixed energy routes. The Maverick could redirect power instantaneously. A weapon system damaged, immediate redistribution. A sensor array compromised, instant reconfiguration. Military strategists from Earth began to understand the true potential. This wasn't just a ship. It was a living, thinking system that could adapt faster than any known technology. Alien intelligence networks worked overtime. They captured every piece of data, every fragment of information. But the more they analyzed, the more confused they became. The distributed computer system was the real breakthrough. Instead of a central AI, the Maverick used a network of quantum processors that could think collectively. If one processor was damaged, others would immediately take over its functions. "We're not just building a ship," SEO would tell her team. "We're creating an organism that can survive and fight." Each strange protrusion had a purpose. Each seemingly random sensor array could collect and process information at speeds previously unimaginable. The ship could predict potential threats before they even materialized. Weapon systems were equally revolutionary. Traditional spacecraft relied on fixed targeting systems. The Maverick could adapt its weapons in real time, changing frequency, energy output, and targeting algorithms instantaneously. The scientific community was divided. Some called it genius, others called it madness. But nobody could deny the results. During simulated combat scenarios, the ship performed beyond all expectations. It could counter threats that traditional spacecraft couldn't even detect. Its ability to learn and adapt was unprecedented. June watched the reports with quiet satisfaction. Years of being told his designs were impossible were finally paying off. Human creativity had once again proven that true innovation often looks like chaos before it becomes breakthrough technology. The RSS Maverick represented more than a technological achievement. It was a statement, a declaration that human potential knew no boundaries, that creativity could transform the impossible into reality. As analysis continued, one thing became clear. The galaxy was about to change, and a ship that looked like a technological joke would be the catalyst of that transformation. The massive Vortex fleet assembled like a wall of metal and energy. Thousands of ships stretched across the star system, their weapons charged and ready. Admiral Wren believed this would be the moment they would crush the human threat once and for all. The RSS Maverick approached. Just one ship against an entire armada. Sensors detected the incoming vessels. But this time, the humans were prepared. June Park sat calm, his hands barely moving across the adaptive control systems. Sarah Kim managed the quantum processors, her eyes tracking multiple potential scenarios simultaneously. First contact happened faster than anyone expected. Energy weapons that could destroy planets fired simultaneously at the Maverick. Traditional spacecraft would have been vaporized instantly. The Maverick moved differently. It wasn't just moving, it was predicting, calculating, adapting. Energy pulses that should have destroyed the ship seemed to flow around its strange configuration. Weapon systems that looked randomly placed fired with impossible precision. Each shot targeted specific quantum weak points in the alien ship's energy shields. Impossible, Admiral Wren whispered, watching his tactical displays. The ship's distributed computer system was processing faster than any known technology. Where traditional AI would take seconds to calculate responses, the Maverick was making strategic decisions in milliseconds. One vortex destroyer suddenly lost power, then another. The perfectly organized battle formation began to crumble. Quantum sensors detected threats before they manifested. Energy conduits redirected power instantaneously. Weapon systems reconfigured faster than the enemy could track. Theo, Maverick wasn't just fighting, it was learning. Each encounter made it smarter, more adaptive. Alien tactical officers watched in horror. Their most advanced tracking systems couldn't lock onto the human vessel. It was as if the ship existed in multiple potential locations simultaneously. Explosive decompression began affecting Vortex ships. Critical systems failed without warning. The ship's strange configuration allowed it to survive attacks that would obliterate traditional spacecraft. "This can't be happening," Admiral Wren repeated, his scaled hands trembling on the command console. But it was happening. A ship that looked like a technological joke was systematically destroying the most advanced battle group in the known galaxy. Hour after hour, the battle continued. The Maverick moved like a living creature, twisting, turning, predicting. Its energy systems redistributed power faster than the enemy could comprehend. Weapon systems fired with a precision that defied mathematical probability. Communication. Networks across the galaxy began broadcasting the impossible news. The Vortex fleet, considered unbeatable, was being destroyed by a single human vessel that looked like it was assembled from spare parts. June Park remained calm throughout the entire engagement. This wasn't just a battle. This was a demonstration of human innovation, a proof that creativity could overcome traditional thinking. The last Vortex ships began to retreat. Their perfect formation had been completely destroyed. Advanced warships that had conquered multiple star systems were now running from a single human vessel. As the final enemy ship disappeared, silence fell across the star system. The RSS Maverick sat alone, its strange configuration a testament to human potential. Sarah Kim looked at June. "We did it," she said quietly. June just smiled. They had done more than win a battle. They had changed the understanding of what was possible. The galaxy would never be the same. A ship that looked like a joke had just rewritten the rules of space warfare, and humanity had proven once again that true innovation often looks like madness before it becomes genius. The RSS Maverick continued its trajectory, ready for whatever challenge might come next. Its legend was just beginning. The galactic communication networks exploded with news. One human ship had defeated an entire Vortex battle group. Researchers, military strategists, and politicians from hundreds of civilizations analyzed every recorded moment of the battle. June Park sat in a simple conference room, surrounded by Earth's top military leadership. His hands were calm, his eyes reflecting a quiet confidence that made senior generals uncomfortable. "It wasn't about the ship," he explained. "It was about understanding that technology is alive. It must adapt. It must learn." Reports from the battlefield continued to shock analysts. The RSS Maverick had not just survived, it had transformed the very understanding of spacecraft design. Every seemingly random configuration had a purpose. Every strange sensor array contained complex quantum technologies. Alien intelligence networks worked overtime. They captured every piece of data, every fragment of information. But the more they analyzed, the more confused they became. The Vortex Coalition was in complete disarray. Their most advanced military technology had been defeated by a ship that looked like it was assembled from spare parts and wild imagination. Admiral Wren, once a celebrated military leader, was now facing potential removal from his position. Sarah Kim presented detailed technical reports. Each presentation revealed another layer of the Maverick's revolutionary design. quantum processors integrated into mechanical appendages, energy conduits that could redistribute power faster than any known technology, a computer system that wasn't just processing, but learning. Military academies across multiple star systems began studying the battle. Cadets examined holographic recreations, trying to understand how a single ship could defeat an entire battle group. Humans don't just build machines, one alien researcher noted. They create living systems. The economic impact was immediate. Spacecraft design companies that had dominated galactic markets for centuries suddenly found themselves obsolete. Traditional engineering principles were being rewritten. June understood something deeper. This wasn't just a technological achievement. It was a statement about human potential, about the power of thinking differently. Diplomatic channels became interesting. Some alien civilizations saw the Maverick as a threat. Others saw it as an opportunity for collaboration. Trade negotiations, military treaties, scientific exchanges, everything was suddenly on the table. The ship itself became a symbol, not just of military potential, but of human creativity. A physical representation of the idea that innovation often looks like madness before it becomes breakthrough technology. Earth's research facilities were overwhelmed with requests. Scientists from multiple civilizations wanted to understand how the Maverick worked, but the true secret wasn't in the hardware. It was in the approach. "We don't see limitations," C.O. Park would explain to visiting researchers. "We see opportunities." The Maverick's distributed computer system became a particular point of fascination. Instead of a central AI, it used a network of quantum processors that could think collectively. If one processor was damaged, others would immediately take over. Weeks turned into months. The story of the RSS Maverick spread across galaxies. It became more than a technological achievement. It became a legend. June Park rarely spoke about the battle. When asked, he would simply smile and say, "Sometimes looking stupid is the smartest strategy of all." The galactic community had learned a valuable lesson. Human innovation wasn't about following rules. It was about understanding how to break them intelligently. As new spacecraft designs began to emerge, inspired by the Maverick's revolutionary approach, one thing became clear. The universe had just witnessed the beginning of a new era of technological possibility. The RSS Maverick sat in Earth's orbital shipyard, its strange configuration a silent promise of future innovations. What looked like a technological joke had changed everything, and humanity was just getting started.